right. So as people are coming into the waiting room, I would love for y'all to introduce yourself in the chat if you're able to, and particularly what land you're on. If you know the native name, there's a cool website. If you don't, nativelands.ca. Put that in the chat. So name, your pronouns, and what land you're on, and what brings you here tonight. If just to get us started here in the chat. And, I'm gonna put this link here, this amazing map, nativeland.ca, just in case you need to look up the native name or tribes of the land you're on. Welcome, Jenny. Hi. So good to see you. So chat intro will be name, pronouns, native land names. You can put the other name in the parentheses if you want, political name, and what brought you here. Just as we're getting more folks into the Zoom room, and it's such a joy to be connecting with you all tonight. I'm so excited for this training, and thank you for being here. And I'll do my chat intro too. Okay. And yeah, we'll give, let's see, 503, 504. All right. I'll give one more minute for some intros, and then I'll start into the workshop. And while we're getting comfy too, if anyone has any accessibility needs, please let me know how I can be of service in that way, if I can. And I am recording, but I have pinned my video, so it should just be capturing my video. And you're welcome to participate with camera on or off, however you feel comfortable. And we're gonna try a sound experiment that I just learned about from another workshop I was in. So if you all will go to the microphone in the left corner and click on the little up arrow and go to audio settings. I'll put this in the chat as well. And then click on advanced at the bottom of audio settings. And then it says show in meeting option to enable original sound. If y'all would click that, and I'll put those instructions again. If you'll click that to enable this option to enable original sound in your microphone. So go to bottom left microphone, click arrow up, click audio settings, and then click blue advanced button at the bottom. And then click show in meeting option to enable original sound from microphone.
Sarita, do we click on disable high fidelity or use stereo audio?
I think let's click. Oh no, I think just the one that says show in meeting option to enable original sound from microphone.
Okay.
Okay, and then once you have that, at the top of your screen, it's gonna say turn on original sound, and you're gonna click that. top left. It's a way to bypass how Zoom cancels out multiple voices at once. Click. So what it should say at the top of your screen after you do these steps is turn off original sound. So we're going to we'll do a sound experiment with this. All right, thank you for these introductions in the chat. It's so beautiful to start connecting to where folks are at. All right, so let's get started. And I'm going to do a brief introduction to me, and then we're going to start with a little bit of a guided meditation and breath just to get centered. And at the beginning of most workshops and programs through School for the Ecoscene, we start with some kind of centering just to call in all of our guides and call in that support from the universe to hold space for sacred learning and for the deepest and highest good of all concerned. But my name is Sarita. Many of you in here know me. And a little bit of background on my story is that I was teaching in the nonprofit realm for about since I was 18 until I was like 33, and I never could quite make ends meet, and it was sort of a rat race. And once I discovered that a lot of the times in nonprofit industry, administrators are making over $100,000, and all the teaching artists are making not a living wage, no benefits, no job security. And the grants often are written on the backs of marginalized populations or at-risk populations, and yet they don't really see the money. They see some services maybe, but they're not necessarily culturally grounded or economically viable for the community. So I just got really burnt out on the nonprofit, and put a, let me know in the chat if that resonates for any of you. I'm just curious if any of you are coming from nonprofit backgrounds. So then after the nonprofit industry, I went to grad school and I got an MFA in painting. I went to UCLA, and I started looking to options of being an artist as a career path where I could maybe sell my paintings, have gallery representation, and move through, museum and grant sort of opportunities. And I found also that it was a struggle. It was a struggle to make ends meet. It was applying for grants that were very competitive, and you never really know if there's going to be, a chance to even get the interview for the grant. It's just a lot of work, and a lot of the times artists are asked to work for free or underpaid, So the gallery system also, as I was introduced to it in LA, it seemed to be, again, some people at the top profiting the most, and the artists not necessarily making it for their labor. And there's exceptions, and I'm not saying that path is bad. I'm just saying it didn't work for me, and it wasn't sustainable. And especially when I became pregnant, I was like, how can I feed my baby without reliable income? It's real. So then I started moving through sort of trying to get adjunct positions and be a professor in art and support myself that way. And it worked for a little while. It was, again, no benefits, not sustainable economically. I didn't have any job security. Adjuncts are hired semester to semester, and we're encouraged to go on unemployment in between. So I went into my last semester of teaching as an adjunct, which I don't take that lightly. A lot of people can't even get those positions, but I was in LA adjuncting, went into after spring semester, went into unemployment, and then my family relocated to the Bay. And that's where I was a year and a half ago. So I moved to the Bay in 2019, and I could not find academic jobs up here because they're usually gifted to people who know somebody, and I didn't really know anybody in the Bay Area, Ohlone Land area, for academic jobs. And I decided, you know what, even if I could get a job, I don't really want to be stuck in a tenure track position either, because then I'm wedded giving so much of my time and energy, more than 40 hours a week, to an institution that has a beginning probably that was exclusive, made for specifically wealthy white men. And maybe their policies have shifted, but a lot of times the regents haven't, and the people who are making the calls on the curriculum haven't shifted that much. So I was like, this isn't working for me. My unemployment ran out, and I find myself a year ago with no income and a family to support. So Yeah, I'm getting some. I feel y'all in the chat here. Burnout. Yes, that's me. Academia is too much. Yeah, it's too much. And so, um, and that's not to disrespect the people working so hard in there to make changes. And so many incredible changes have been made, and I've benefited from a lot of that really cool critical theory that's come out. You know, people like Gloria Ansaldúa are now taught in academia who, if you don't know, they've had amazing work on Nepantla, or being in between identities and code switching and things like that. But even Gloria got kicked out, couldn't continue in their MFA program because, you know, when our values aren't fully aligned with the institutions that we're supposed to be striving to be in, it's just, you feel that disconnect in your body, and it's toxic and it's hard, and you have to sacrifice a lot of your morals and principles. So yeah. So all of that is in the pot for me, and it was stirring around and mixing up. And at some point, I decided to release. Like, I need to release needing, you know, needing to be an artist in the way I thought I was going to be an artist, needing to be an academic in the way I thought I was going to be an academic or a professor. And it was sort of a grieving mourning process for me the whole last fall. And right around that time, right come January, where I was like, you know, I got to figure something out. I want to make a new way. Um, I was introduced to a sacred business school called Muse Business Academy. And we just graduated. Shout out to Jenny, also in the graduating class. And I got to learn some really amazing, viable business skills. And so I applied them to creating School for the Ecoscene. So we've had School for the Ecoscene programs for almost a year now. And I'm making, for the first time in my life, a consistent income. And for me, it's a dream income because I'm making between 40 and 50,000 a year, and I've never been able to achieve that before. So for me, it's a dream, and it's an income that also allows me to seed back into communities. And with the school, we're now creating more jobs for more people. So currently we employ 3 people through School for the Ecoscene, and next year we hope to open up to more. So full transparency, I'm really new to this. So I don't know what I'm doing, and I make a lot of mistakes, and I just want to invite that transparency in to say, like, I'm in the dark feeling my way, but thank goddess I had a business program to support me. And I want to encourage you, you know, if you're feeling like you want to create autonomous, and by autonomous I mean you don't have to rely on any other institution or government support, um, to make ends meet, because as healers and artists and activists, we have so much to give to the world right now, and we have so much important medicine to shape the way that the paradigm's shifting. And so we have to do that from a full cup. You know, I'm not necessarily, you know, people in my business program were trying to be billionaires out there, or millionaires even. And, you know, no shade, that's just not for me. I'm talking about a basic living wage, because stuff's expensive right now. So, you know, all of that being said, we're going to now start shifting gears, and we're going to start tuning into some dream visions for collective abundance for you all in your communities. And then towards the second half of the workshop, I'll be sharing a lot of practical strategies for creating programs online that will work and will generate sustainable income for you. And for me, what works is to kind of practice a model, figure it out, get the kinks out, and then open it up so more people can participate. So that's kind of what works for me. And there's no one right way to do it. There's infinite paths. And so with all of your infinite brilliance, you know, you can also flourish in creating new systems, new paradigms of economy, because the fact of the matter is we need money right now. As much as we want to be post capitalism, I feel like it's we're in this transition zone where we still need money to survive. We you know but we can manifest so many beautiful things when we have access to money, and we're living by our values, and we're living in service. So for me, I'm living in service to Pachamama. So they're my guiding force. It's the deity of the earth from Bolivia, and that's where my mom's matrilineal line goes, to Bolivia. And so I handed it all over to Pachamama. So we're gonna get into sort of like, what's your dream vision? Who and what are you living in service to in this life? You know, and we're gonna end up with some cool practical steps that you could take near the end of this workshop. And if at any point you have questions, please pop them in the chat, and we'll have Q&A time at the end as well. Okay, if I miss them, make sure at the end just to unmute and share. share your question. Okay, so let's begin with a little bit of a centering, and I want to invite folks to close their eyes if they feel comfortable, and let's drop into our breath and bodies for a moment. And just notice if there's any tension in your body. And on your inhale, send your breath to that place. Lovingly send that breath and hold it there. And exhale through the mouth. And one more time, let's take an inhale. Send the breath anywhere in your body, wanting a little bit extra love right now. And exhale. And one more deep inhale. Lovingly send that breath around. And exhale. And let's keep our eyes momentarily closed as we connect to our bodies. Feel the connection between our feet and the earth. And drop our chin slightly down to elongate our necks and send some love to our spine. Find some space between your spine or cords. And I want to send gratitude to each of you tuning in right now. I want to send gratitude to your visions, your unique medicine for this planet, and your unique path and paths. And I want to send gratitude to the ancestors of all the land that we're on, all the spirits there who stewarded these ecosystems that we now get to live in. Thank you to all of the stewards of the earth present with us right now too. And I want to send gratitude to the Council of Ancestors and Guides that brought us together to dream vision new collective economies that are horizontal, bringing in abundance, sharing abundance back out. And I invite you in your mind's eye to picture an ecosystem that's near and dear to your heart. If you're just joining, we're in a meditation. I invite you to slip in, join us, get comfy. And we're picturing an ecosystem near and dear to our heart in our mind's eye. And take a moment to notice the plants there, the plant relatives around you. What color their foliage is. The shapes of the leaves. And connect to the ground there. Notice what color the ground is, what colors the ground has. What textures and materials are beneath your feet in this ecosystem that you love. And notice what time of day it is, what color the sky is. And invite in a sacred guide for you, a guide, a spirit guide that may come to you in a form you recognize or a color or shade of light. Perhaps it's a familiar guide to you. And welcome them into the space knowing that you are surrounded with protection and safety. You can see a golden light around the whole ecosystem and yourself there. And invite in this guide as a sacred counsel. And just notice for a moment what they look like, how they appear. And if images are fluttering, you can just allow them to flutter and land on one for a moment. Notice their form. And we can ask these guides any questions we want. And one that I like to start with is, what is my purpose on this planet? Show me my purpose, my medicine for this planet, my role in planetary liberation. What's my gift to share? What are my gifts to share? And see what comes through. And picture yourself sharing these gifts, this outward offering. See the ways that your medicine is rippling out, affecting positive change as it ripples. And see yourself in abundance. See the abundance coming to you in many forms for these gifts, so that the energy you put out is also coming back to nourish and support you in many different facets of your life. From loving relationships to a safe and abundant habitat, ecosystem, home, and to currency that will enable you in the short term and long term to provide for your needs, to be shared in your community, to be shared with your elders, your chosen family. See this abundance coming to you and have fun with whatever playful form it comes in, whatever symbol or the way this magical sacred abundance comes to you. You can think symbolically here. what magic is coming to you for the gifts you put out in the world and the change you are impacting. And see yourself connected to abundant earth community, community of humans, community of more than human animals, communities of pollinators, communities of plants, birds, communities of birds who are messengers, who are guides. Just imagine all of the abundant community that you are connecting to in your path, in your beautiful, brilliant path, where you get to share your gifts with the world and you get to be supported, comfortable in sharing your gifts, where you have that stable root, you have that stable income. And in this mental image, come back for a moment to the image of this guide, a spirit guide that was visiting you, that's there holding space for your visions, holding space for your belief in yourself and the importance of your calling. And you can ask them, what do I need to release in order to activate all of this medicine? Perhaps it's something you're continually releasing and working on. Just ask them, at this time, what can I release to make way for these dream visions? And see what comes through. And perhaps these are stories you've heard from society or from your family, your upbringing, or perhaps it's something you echo in your own mind. You know, just take a moment to look at them. Look what comes through as limiting beliefs that try to belittle you, disencourage you. And while you're here with your guide, you can now tune in and ask if there's anything else. And sometimes they have a next step for you, a sacred next step for you. And you can thank the guide whenever you're ready. And you can thank this ecosystem holding space for your dream visions, for your comfort and connection. And whenever you're ready, you're going to rub your hands together, roll your shoulders back, and flutter open your eyes. And invite you to ground with some water in your body if you have some water that you could drink. And then I want to invite you to grab your journal and jot down anything that came through during that vision. And I'll put in the chat some of the prompts. And if you're just joining us, we just got out of a meditation, and I will send a recording out so you can go through it at another time if you missed it right now. So some of the prompts are: you can draw this dream ecosystem. You can draw this spirit guide that came through. You can draw your medicine, purpose, magic rippling out from you as offering to planetary liberation, whatever that means to you. And you can draw the abundance coming to you, very important step. And just think in simple symbols. You don't have to, worry about your picture so much. This is more to bring it into physical form, bring it from these visions into a physical form through symbols and marks on a page. And if you want to add words, you can totally put words into it. If you prefer words than drawings, it's totally fine. And at the bottom of the page, as soil or compost, what are limiting beliefs to be released? I like to put those at the bottom and draw compost or soil, starting to break them apart, transform them. You can draw them however you want. And then, is there anything else? Perhaps a next step that they shared with you. And we'll take about until 5:40 to draw these out. And if you didn't participate in the full meditation, you can imagine and think about these questions now and draw whatever comes to you now. And if you have a moment to just center in, you can kind of ask the questions also in a mindful way, if that works for you. So whatever point you came in, you can still work with these prompts. I invite you to draw this scene, draw the medicine, draw the abundance, and also take note of what limiting beliefs came up around you receiving abundance and for your gifts in this world. And if anyone has questions or clarification, please let me know. Put them in the chat. I'm really enjoying reading everyone's intros in the chat right now. And then I'm also putting instructions for our next activity on how to turn on original sound. So I'm gonna put those right there if you missed that at the beginning. There's some little instructions to turn on original sound. Oh, I made a mistake. At the top left, it should say turn off original sound. So you want to make sure it says turn off original sound. mobile. I'm not sure how to do this in mobile. I haven't tried that. If wherever you see the mute button, hopefully there's a little place for more options, and that's how you would get there, but I'm not totally hearing my echo. Okay, so now can kind of wrap up whatever image you're on or part you're on. And we're gonna do an embodiment piece now. So we were in the vision space and calling in that dream vision in the ether for our medicine, and then we just began to make it physical in a sketch or drawing or writing form. And now we're going to move into an embodiment piece to deal with the limiting beliefs. So here's what I'm hoping we can do. When I'm done explaining the instructions, I want to invite everyone to unmute, and it might be cacophonous. You might want to turn your volume down a little bit if it's up loud. And I would like for you to find a movement that's going to release the limiting beliefs. Perhaps choose one to begin with. So for an example, I'm going to pick a limiting belief that I'm not good enough, and I'm going to find a motion with my body to move that belief or shift it or transform it or compost it. So the I'm not good enough, I might be like this, like I'm not good enough, like move it out, and so you can wipe them off your body, you can flick them off your hair, and we're gonna just try a quick embodiment exercise to get these limiting beliefs out. And if you feel awkward, you can be off camera, but if you want to be on camera, so I invite you now to go ahead and unmute and stand up if you can. It's a little better to access your full body range, I think, for this. And we're going to just do a collective ritual to get these beliefs out of our body, out of our consciousness. You can stomp on them. All right, and then we'll move through the next piece. So I see some folks have gone off. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Someone's inspired to keep going with that one. Go for it. Okay, so it looks like there's not too many people unmuted, but go ahead and unmute. I invite you to be heard. Be heard as you're releasing. You can start moving. If see some of you are inspired to start moving, it's awesome. Shake them off, and you can just say the part that's like not good enough or unsuccessful. Whatever limiting belief might come. Go ahead and start saying them. Let's just say them and shake them off. Okay. All right, let's go for it. All right.
Not true.
Unworthy.
Scary.
Chaotic.
Too late. Not served. Not
Scary.
Not an artist. Not an artist.
Unwanted.
Not an artist.
Acceptable.
Not an artist.
Sustainable.
Fear of failure.
Not good enough.
Unsafe.
Not good enough.
Doing it
wrong.
Too big.
Not
Urgent.
talented. Not talented.
Staying small for others to be comfortable.
Not
It's not
talented.
possible.
Not talented enough.
Too loud.
Not an artist.
I have to
Too out there. Too late.
valid.
Too late. Too late. Good enough. Not enough. Not enough. Not talented. Talented. Not an artist.
I scare people.
An artist.
sad, unprofessional,
Too shy.
boring,
Too shy, too awkward. Too shy, too awkward. Popular.
I'm gonna mess up.
Too shy, too awkward.
that was amazing. Any last ones that want to come through, feel free. And now we're going to find the affirmation in there. So, what is the affirmation on the other side of that limiting belief? Go ahead and type it into the chat if you want, or speak it out loud. So you can look at what you wrote down, and find an affirmation at the other end of that. And you could speak them, speak them when you're ready, or you could put them in the chat if you don't feel called to speak, but speaking really activates them. All right. So unmute and say the affirmation for us. Let us witness you. All right. All right, let's go.
Joy, abundance, love.
Morning.
Enough.
We can do this. Or maybe it's a we affirmation. We are.
We are capable.
We are infinitely full of potential.
We are compassionate.
Fullness possibilities.
We are
We're
visionaries.
lovable. We're talented. We're enough. We're lovable. We're loving.
New pathways of abundance.
Yeah.
Legacies.
I am whole.
I am golden.
Knowing.
I am
Full. Loving. Talented. Abundant. Visionary.
We are protected.
Protected.
We believe
Where I need to be.
we are supported.
Everything is in its right place.
We're connected to sacred power. We're connected to the power in our
We
body.
are evolving, shifting, and growing.
We are moving at a nourishing pace. Actual capacity.
I love my creative power.
Awesome. All right. So that was just a little bit of magic. You can turn off sound if you want now. That's like a cool new way to use Zoom, that we can actually all be heard at once. I really like that. Thank you for trying that experiment with me. And I hear you. I hear all of your affirmations, and I see them in the chat too. So go ahead and write them down, write them, sparkle them, sprinkle them all over your page now. These affirmations that came through that create a new story from the limiting beliefs that you might have felt or been projected onto you. Because those won't stop, like people are going to project limiting beliefs based on their own fears all the time as you're stepping more and more into your power. And so you have to know your worth, and you have to radiate that confidence, but first we can nurture it in community. And so working through a limiting belief sometimes is much easier in a phone call with a friend, of like, okay, I'm really coming up against this one. I would like to release it, and I would like to call in X, Y, and Z for myself. So, I'm grateful to a lot of folks in here. Shout out to Mare, has been that for me. And we are exponential. I love these. So yeah, write them out so you know them and you can refer to them and see them. And it just sprinkles some ritual and magic for what we're now going to delve into, which are going to be reflections on this process first, and then we're going to get into some strategies and more ways to activate the abundance, okay, in practical ways. So let's just do a little breakout room moment, and I'll give folks about 12 minutes and 4 people to a room or so. So each person can take about 3 minutes just to share your name again, if anything, to introduce yourself, and then share any part of this process for you, what you drew, if you want to share something that came to you in the guided meditation, and also reflect on how it felt to move through some of the limiting beliefs and find the affirmations inside of them. Okay, so I'll just put some of those prompts in the chat. So breakout rooms, reflect on the guided meditation, any aspect, and what it feels like to move through limiting beliefs and find affirmations on the other side. Okay, all right, so we're going to do breakout rooms now, and it'll be 3 to 4 people in a room, so you can each take we're gonna go for 12 minutes, so we'll come back around 6:03, 6:04, and please introduce yourselves and share. Okay, thank you. Here we go. I'll pop through the rooms. Okay, there we go. Welcome back. Folks are gonna be trickling in, and if you would, I would love for you to put in the chat any takeaways from your group conversations that you just had. Anything you heard that was inspiring or interesting to you, any takeaways, go ahead and put them in a group chat as we wait for folks to come back. Yes. Wow. Loving these reflections. Yeah, just if you want to share a phrase or sentence or any reflection, something you heard. Beautiful. I love the fruit abundance, the fruit presence. Interconnectivity, yes. The we. Many right ways to be. Intersections of interconnections and the internet, yes. Fruits as guide, quantum waves. All right. So, welcome any more shares folks want to put in. Safe space for expression. Beautiful. As those are coming through, so now we're going to move into the part that's sort of like practical strategies for connecting to this abundance and having it come through in the physical realm, and being intentional with how we share it and put it back out, and sort of different aspects of that process that I've been learning and practicing. And as one of the reflections shared, there's no one right way. So I'm excited just to put more tools into your toolkit, and you can try them out and see if they work for you. And I know a lot of abundance will be blooming from all of these intentions and revelations. So, so the first piece of the first tip I wanted to share was how important it is to honor the abundance we already have in our lives. So we're going to keep being super interactive, and I want to invite you again to open up your journal or your sketchbook and just take a moment to take note, make a list of the abundance that is active in your life right now already, the abundance you already have. Because as we honor and tend to what we already have, it just becomes even more magnetic for that kind of fulfillment and abundance to keep circulating and coming in. And again, what we pay attention to grows. So go ahead and make a note right now of what's the abundance in your life that you already have. Oh, I think you just disappeared. Oh, there you are. Hi, Queen. We just started doing a mapping activity, so if you have some paper, I'll go ahead and give you the prompt we're on. Yes. So right now we're making a list of all the abundance we already have in our lives, including financial abundance that's already coming in or has already come in. Just make a list. Okay. And so now I would like for you each to make on this page or wherever the next space is in your book, an ideal scene for your income. So obviously abundance is not just, or maybe not obviously, but in our society, but abundance obviously is not just income and money. However, as mentioned, this workshop's about creating collective income. So go ahead and now create a dream budget for yourself that includes two parts. The first part is income coming in, and you can just create a word to represent a category for the income and put a monthly amount. And so in other words, the next step is mapping, let's say for 2021, what would 1 month of ideal income look like that you would like to see repeated? Because the amazing thing right now is in our flexible economies and with all of our flexible skills, we don't have to have just one way to earn money. We can nurture our many different facets and our many different skills. And so perhaps there's 2 or 3 categories that you would see abundance coming in for 2021. Let's think about the short-term months to come. What's an ideal income for various aspects of your life? And perhaps it's a new thread of income that you want to cultivate. Put that as a category. So you're going to list categories and actual numbers per month of what could be income in there. And if there's information you don't know yet, that's totally fine. So much will be revealed, but you could put it as a general category. So you could put teaching. Maybe you don't know what you're going to teach yet, but you could put a number of how much you would like to make per month teaching, for example. So go ahead and try that next. Thumbs up. Yes. I'll put that in here too. And when you think about your numbers, I invite you to really realistically and think about your budget and know that if you're going to want to be, buying local organic food from the farmers market, that's you're going to need. Make sure you're padding your income that you want to bring in to account for a lifestyle that will also enable you to invest back into ecological economies, and if you're someone like me that has settler privilege or white privilege, then make sure to put in there a category for that will be able to pay reparations as well. So we want to pad these budgets with numbers that will enable us to live freely and give freely. So you might need to, maybe before you thought 3,000 a month, was like a lot easier than 1K a month for sure, but maybe to enable you to pay your teachers. Maybe you want to support your elder, then you're going to want to pad your numbers a little bit. So think about a dream income, not just the bare minimum. Invite in that flow, that extra that can go out as flow as well. All right. And let me know if you have any questions or concerns with anything I'm saying. Happy to talk details. Okay. So for me with abundance, there's always two parts. There's the magic part where I set an intention and I do a ritual and I invite it in. And that's just a drawing or even a number on a page. You right now are working magic just by putting a number to a category of where you would like to make some money. That's the magic part. And then there's the practical steps of activating that. But both work in their own ways. And you'll be surprised. Sometimes all you have to do is actually just put the number on a page in a category. And then before you know it, it's going to start magnetizing it. So be generous with yourself, and really think about what your medicine is and how valuable it is. And sometimes if you're not sure which aspect of you to share, think about what you know really well, what you know for sure, and what you think will be really valuable for other people to learn from you right now. Because we're in a unique moment in time, and people are looking for skill sets that I know a lot of you have. People are looking for creativity. People are looking for ecological consciousness, leadership, in terms of how to I heard someone earlier mention how to teach art, things like that. So honor your gifts and really think about what would bring you pleasure in sharing to bring in. Okay. And don't play too small, give the numbers that boost, because prices are going up. Food costs more now. So you gotta boost those monthly budgets accordingly. And if anyone's having a challenge coming up with numbers or category, again, please ask away or put it in the chat, or we can do a case study with what you're thinking about that might be illuminating for other people too.
I wanted to say something, and I'm wondering if other folks feel this way, but like you said, there's a lot of skills, but I always wonder about which ones to monetize, and which ones like feel okay monetizing. Um, I think like I struggle with that a lot, and I wonder if anyone or you or anyone has insight onto like how they work through figuring out that for themselves.
That's such a great question. Thank you for asking, and I'm happy to talk to it and also invite an open floor for others. So one of my teachers is Olivia Chumacero, and what I've learned from Olivia is that in doing a healing on someone, um, that's the kind of offering that is not to be monetized in terms of like directly healing a community member from an illness or something like that. Like that's sometimes not meant to be monetized, and that's in Olivia's opinion and teaching. um, However, Olivia right now is teaching and monetizing um, her philosophy, and she's teaching and monetizing daily practices that one can take towards being in connection that will create wellness or healing. Those are not her words; those are my paraphrase. But it's really nuanced, and sometimes the best way to do it is actually to make an offering to the ancestors and to the guides and see what they're letting you know. They'll tell you, if it's something that's meant to be sacred and not monetized in that way, they'll let you know, this is just to be shared with your chosen family as for example, if we're talking about healing practices. And then there's other things that are sort of like, what, the world wants to know this right now, and for you to be able to teach it right now, you have to make your own ends meet. You have to be able to provide food and shelter for yourself. So I kind of, that's sort of my protocol, is as far as what I've learned from my teacher. So but how about we open the floor? Does anyone else have any intuitions or guidelines that they go to for that, around what to monetize and what not to monetize? It's a great question.
I feel that when we look at it in terms of energy, it doesn't really matter what it is. If you're giving of your energy and time, even if it's, if Reiki, massage, shamanic work, if there has to be an exchange. And if we look at it in terms of energy, I'm giving and receiving at the same time. And when you give, even if you're paying someone, you're also receiving at the same time. So somewhere along the line, I've noticed that indigenous practices have, taken the stance where, we don't do this for money, but we're just not in the bush anymore. We live in capitalist society where we do have to buy things now. The barter system is not happening the way it would be nice if it still were, but it's no longer true. In a lot of those practices, when the healer did give energy, there was, a bowl of bag of corn and yam, and, so there would be sustainability. And we just don't, as a collective, we don't trade like that anymore. So I feel that seeing the value in what we do and what we bring and applying it in the 21st century, where everything that we get practically we buy. It just makes sense to stay in balance and to stay healthy. To stay healthy, because when we give and we're not able to receive, that's out of balance.
Thank you, Queen.
Thank you.
Potent knowledge there. Thank you for that share. So, it's in terms of thinking, if you have many skills and picking which one you want to share, I would go with like, what would bring you the most pleasure to share with other folks or teach other folks from what skills you have or practices you have, and what's the thing that you know so well in your body, that you've been doing for a long time as your own self-care practice or learning practice. So, you know, go with sort of the impulses that feel that they would have the most ease and comfort for you to be sharing and teaching. And that's kind of like going to be a great segue into the next piece. So, does anyone else have any questions about that kind of budget that we just worked on before we move into the next piece?
I have a question kind of piggybacking off of the healing thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm starting to work as like a medical intuitive. So working with the body in like kind of a doctor, but not like a actual doctor. And I've definitely gotten the message to charge like a lot for it. But I also, I feel really passionate about wanting to make the services available to like people who don't have a lot of spare income. Like, I guess just like knowing that I, in my position now, wouldn't be able to afford what I'm charging. Like, I really want to give the service and not just make a lot of money and then put it into like, you know, a mutual aid fund. And I'm like in a place now where people sort of come to me and they want discount or free healings, and I really want to give it to them, but it doesn't feel sustainable. And I was wondering if you had like advice on finding that system where I can give a few of my healings for like free or something, but then also make enough money. Yeah.
Another really great question. So that's something I was going to talk about next, is actually finding different tiers in your services where you know, we have to make sure our bases are covered first. So what I would want to coach you all on first is thinking about what is this offering that the universe is giving you a green light. This is your medicine to share, and you can receive abundance for it, and you can be paid for it. And finding first a long-term or high dollar sacred container that's going to support you in doing that work. And playing with the numbers to see, okay, if you're charging X amount for, can I ask you, like, how long is it usually a one-time session, or do you do sessions over the course of time? Ava.
So far it's been a one-time thing with like some people return for like more, but it's the actual like right now it's sort of more like free, just like psychic readings that usually end up being about the body, but I'm like developing like a whole other thing, so I don't know exactly what it's gonna look like.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna still be like get a session when you want it. Yeah.
Okay. So if it's a one-time session, yeah, it has to be high dollar. And there's no one right way. So what I've worked out for my school, I'll just share that, is that I have an 8-month program that's at a sliding scale, and that's based on income. And I have 3 different income levels. And there's a few more perks, like if someone is able to apply early or they're able to pay all in once, then they have some additional discount. But having 3 sliding scale income levels for me has worked really well, because I know that, yeah, like you, I was like, if I was in this position previously, I wouldn't have been. I want to be able to afford what I'm asking other people to pay. So the income tiers have really helped with me in that sense. And then I also have Black Lives Matter scholarships available for the program, and that's just part of my own personal dedication to wanting to be inclusive and relevant for Black community members. So that's something else I've built into my system of monetizing the DIY PhD specifically. And then you know, we have our social media platforms. So when we have something like IG, you know, you can give an offering through there to the community free, once a week or once a month. And that is so much service already. So perhaps there's a way for you, you can find a way to support your community in earlier stages of the healing, or the offerings that you have. You could find a way to provide them in little doses as a service or offering through your social media, and that's the part that's given away for free. But then once it's your livelihood at stake, I would say having strong conviction and listen to your body. It sounds like you're doing a great job of listening to your body and checking in with your body and seeing what the offering needs to be priced at for it to be sustainable for you and your energy. And then there could also be sometimes like a lower investment level. That's like perhaps a one-time webinar, for example. That's a donation where people could get a taste of what you have to offer without doing the full investment. So pacing yourself with those. I do those right now. I do those 3 times a year. This is one of them, and that feels sustainable for me. So I think you can find ways to have services and offerings that are low investment for community members. But when it comes to the work that's going to take the most of your energy and is your sacred offering for the world, I would listen to your body if it's telling you that's what you need to charge. And maybe you could open up, a couple scholarship positions, and you have them spaced out. So it's not, it could be like every 6 months you offer a scholarship position, or every season do one, like that. But making sure it's in balance with what your body's telling you to charge, and then also what's gonna enable you to make your baseline, your bottom line, and knowing how many clients you need to see per month to make that baseline income. And then you can be more flexible in playing with like sort of a taste of an offering through social media, or a one-time webinar or something like that. Might be a little different for your circumstances, but does that help a little bit?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I loved all those ideas.
Mm-hmm. Okay, these are great case. Yeah. So the high dollar deep transformation that you offer to people, that's the one you want to really stick to a strong price, confidence in your price point, knowing that that's what's going to enable you to make the bills, and then beyond that, there's ways to create opportunities for people to come in, try something out. But as long as you know that baseline is covered, then you're going to be able to have your sustainable business. And usually what I would monetize for that strong transformation is what's the medicine that's going to change someone's life, or enable them to fulfill their dreams, or enable them to live in their best experience in their body, or in their spiritual path and things like that. So it's sort of that deep transformation that your skills and experience could offer someone, that I think is the best thing. And I'm going to talk in just a moment a little bit about how to structure an offering like that. But before I do, is there any more questions about monetization and budget? These are such great topics that we're delving into. Sounds like there's a lot of resonance in the chat with Jay Nyla sharing too. Thank you. Confidence and price point. Yeah, totally. And you can, if someone can't afford that service, that's your main money maker, then you can direct them to the other offerings you have online, or you could have, a self-guided practice meditation on a website that someone could download for a lower price point as well. So there's ways to give people an in there. Cool. All right, so now I'm going to move into some lessons learned around launching programs and creating sacred structures for this consistent income to come in. And so what I would like to do for that is to actually have you go ahead now and brainstorm, and maybe you've already done this. What would be an offering from you that would be transformative for people's lives? What would be a program and right now I'm still focused on you, because I think that when we create our own sustainable income, then it's easier to open it up and share the model and invite more people in to teach or be healers in your program and what have you. But the part about autonomy is that if each person within a collective knows for sure their class will help them meet their base income level, it just opens up a lot of flexibility for collaboration and play, because you'll know that your base point's covered, and you can rely on that for your family and for your income. So take a minute to jot down, if you haven't already, what would be an offering from you aligned with the meditation earlier. This medicine, this gift, this service you have, that you will need to receive. You will need to receive income or exchange for for you to be able to share and teach this medicine. What would that be? And you can take a minute to think about, like, what would be the name, for example, of your high level investment or long-term investment that you would want, a journey you would want to take people through. What would be like a name for that program? You can just come up with like a working title, and many of you, it sounds like, already have kind of programs that you've been developing. And so this is the offering that can create the sustainable income for you in your life. It will be a powerful transformation that you get to share with someone else, or really potent knowledge and life experience that you've been practicing over a long period of time. And next I want you to think about who would be the dream people to enroll in this program. Who is your audience for this? Where are they starting and where are they wanting to go? What do they want to learn? So go ahead now and jot down anything you know at this time about your audience for this program. People looking for what transformation, what knowledge, what are they looking for that you will be able to help them transform in their lives? So one thing, a term I really like from the business school that I was in is your soulmate clients. So knowing that these souls are out there looking for your unique medicine and perspective, and that they will willingly invest in themselves, because that's the other another powerful message I love from Muse Business Academy was that people are not, they're not paying you, it's not they're supporting you. It's actually that it's in, like Queen was saying, a sacred exchange for the ways that you're going to be gifting them your energy and your time for their own transformation. So in fact, they're investing in themselves, and they're committing to wanting to shift their life in some way that you can help them do. So so who are these soulmate clients for you, you know, and any qualities you want them to have, qualities that will feel really good to work with, go ahead and jot those words down too, as another form of spell for attracting, magnetizing people. How would you describe these soulmate clients? And if you think of something like, if the words come to mind like not flaky, then think of an affirmation instead of having a word like not in there. So consistent, or accountable, or committed, you know. So think of these dream words for your dream soulmate clients. And we're just brainstorming and playing here, so you know, it's important to dream vision without attachment or worry that you're going to be doing it wrong, or that it can't change and shift. You know, it'll change and shift in time as you learn. So just have fun calling in like ideal scenes right now of like, who would be the best people to work with, you know, who would it be fun to take on this journey, who, you know, attracting the people who are ready for this journey that you can offer. And while we're on the topic of audience or clients, and for me, the best way to attract clients and attract students for School for the Eco Scene has definitely been through social media. And I happen to be better at IG than Facebook. And I just started this IG account for the DOI PhD work that I do in 2017. So I've had it for 3 years. So the audience is growing, you know, steadily, but you can start anywhere. You can start with an account you already have. And I think for algorithms, like what seems to work for me, and I bet many of you are much better at this than me, is posting like I do twice a week, because for me, being online too much ends up taking away from a lot of other things I need to do, is being present as a mother and things like that. So I post about twice a week, and I post in the morning, and I really tune into my guides and what are they asking me to share that could potentially speak to my soulmate clients right now. And so, you know, the IG has been for me the tool to get the message out about what I'm doing and sharing. And I found that it's not so effective for trying to sell a program. Times that I have made a post just to kind of like sell a program, it doesn't get I think it's the algorithm, for whatever reason. So for me, the IG is not so much to be selling my programs, but it's to be putting myself out there, putting the medicine that I have to share, the medicine really that I'm channeling, and that my ancestors are asking me to channel, and just putting it out there to attract and grow community in that way. So the sale comes in different ways, I think, but for IG, you know, it's more like, what messages are you getting from the universe that the universe wants you to share, and finding sort of a consistent rhythm that works for you with that is really helpful. And sometimes even, yeah, mixing it up seems to be also a great way to get the algorithm to work in your favor. So not always posting the exact same type, like sometimes you could do an IG live, sometimes you could do words on a blank screen, or, you know, a colorful screen, or sometimes it could be an image from your life. So it's sort of that storytelling and magnetizing that happens in social media is really powerful. And then another important tip for generating your audience and starting to grow your audience is that you'll want to have an email list. And I use MailChimp. I know there's other services out there. I just have happened to use MailChimp for a long time, starting as my art mailing list. And now I have two. I have one for my art practice and then one for School for the Eco Scene. So wherever you're at whatever stage you're at, you'll want to have your mailing list and a landing page where people can sign up, you know, so you can put that link in your bio of your social media, just to start gathering the emails. And you can, if you already have a lot of folks in your community, you could ask them, hey, I'm starting to generate some offerings. I'm generating this project, and can I add you to my mailing list? You know, or you could make a post about it and have people sign up through a link in your profile. And MailChimp has landing pages where that's actually what you all signed up for. This webinar was a landing page in MailChimp. So that's for me. First, you really want to start growing that mailing list, even if you're not quite sure what you're offering yet. And the mailing list is another place to have that free support that you're sharing with the community. It can have, you know, a quarterly mailing list with a video. I know, Queen, a lot of you already do this. I know Queen does it with the Earth Lodge. You have an amazing newsletter that goes out. So the newsletter is another place where you offer in that space. And so if you're offering in your newsletter space, if you're offering in your IG space, then for your programs, you can feel confident, like I offer all of this. So this is the part where I receive, and this is the part where, you know, I'm putting a lot of hours in creating curriculum and working with my soulmate clients. And so this is the space I can charge money because I know I'm already offering through mailing lists and offering through IG, for example. Okay, so those are two pieces with the audience that I wanted to share. So if you don't have a mailing list already, go ahead and start it up. And you know, you want to get consent to put folks on it. But I'm sure like folks in your community would be like super happy to see what you're up to, and you'll be surprised. You know, people want to hear what you're thinking about and stirring up. So having a place to collect emails is really important, because what happens if yeah, I don't know, IG starts charging, or I hope eventually to get off Instagram, but for now that's a necessary piece of the pie. But you want to have that autonomous email collection space for sure. So I would love to hear in the chat if anyone wants to share, feels comfortable sharing what they just wrote down as their sacred offering. Let's just get some inspirations rolling. Let's hear what's coming to mind. What is your high value, super transformative offering that you know you can receive abundance for because you are giving so much value to transform someone's life, that they are investing in themselves? What is your consistent high dollar, high level offering? And if you're in a collective, I was noticing in the introduction, someone was in a collective. You know, each person in the collective can have that high dollar transformative offering, or even people can pair up, so two people can tag team it. But if everyone has their own version of that, then you know everyone's bases are covered, and then the collective can generate also, you know, I don't know, that's kind of how I tend to, I'm an Aries, so I think I tend to work that way of like autonomous within a collective where we can all have our offerings that we know we have autonomy with, and we can generate our sustainable income with, and then we can come together and share resources and share platforms and things like that. And actually coming to mind right now is another way to grow your audience is doing collaborative IG lives as well. Okay. Yes. Ooh, teaching minimalism online. Beautiful. I love that. Great. I just want to hear some of these ideas from you all, so I can help tailor the next part, which we're going to talk about the logistics of enrollment. And I'm just curious kind of where your minds are at with what kind of offerings you're teaching. So Queen is offering time, intuitive listening, and channeling. Great. Yes, yes, yes. Earth Speaks videos. Those are such beautiful offerings, Queen. I'm gonna put the Earth Lodge website in here, Queen. Earth Lodge. I think it's earthlodgecenter.org, yeah? I think so. And don't be afraid, you know, if it's a working title, that's okay. Just whatever you know about the offering at this point, let's try it out. try it out by popping it in the chat and start moving from the ideas into the material, into the communicated. Activate them with words and let us witness. Let us witness what you want to move into, and let us celebrate you for that vision, and have belief in you, like for sure that you can get it. All right. Anyone else want to put some ideas in the chat? Intuitive diagnostic sessions to resolve conflict in the body. Teach people how to communicate with their bodies through intuition and symbols. Yes. Oh my God, it's already 6:50. Okay. As you all are putting those in there, I'm going to share this last piece, these last logistics for creating a program. So for this high level sustainable income offering, what I find is super important is to create a container that's over many months. So the one-time service is a lot harder to, for me at this point, it's a lot harder to create sustainable income from that. So I would think of this place you want to move into as a container that you're offering to people that's going to be between 3 to 10 months long. Packages of 3 months if it's individual, a 3-month package of a healing session or listening session in the case of Queen. And if it's a group program, you know, same thing, no shorter than 3 months, I would say, because then you're going to be constantly in the rat race of trying to enroll people and onboard people, you know. And so if you're really wanting to create the sustainable income, it's really important to move into multi-month packaging. Okay. Excuse me. Get some water here. And so if you have your multi-month program, you're going to want to start, you want to give yourselves 2 months before the launch date, I think. I started mine with 1 month before my first launch date, but my launch was not as successful. So I think from now, you can plan from now 2 months, you know, December, and maybe by the end of January, even mid-January, I bet you will be able to launch something. So the first month is really spent in the visioning stage of figuring out, okay, what's the structure for the curriculum that I'm going to move people through? What's the name? What's the branding? You know, creating a flyer for it and creating your landing page for it for people to sign up, or maybe even it could be a Google form for people to apply, you know, so you can ask questions that are going to help figure out where they're at to begin with. And then I usually do enrollment period for a month. So the first 2 weeks I do early bird enrollment, where people can get a discount for signing up in the first 2 weeks. And then during that time, I usually just make one post about it. I make one email to my mailing list first, and then I do one post about it on IG that lets people know early bird enrollment has started and here's where you can go for information. Just to get those 2 messages out there. And then in the second 2 weeks is where it's regular enrollment. So I like to give at least a month for enrollment, and then you could prep before the enrollment month for 2 weeks, or you could do it for a month if that serves you, if you like more time to set up. But I think you could do it. You could launch in 6 weeks from now, you know, and still have good spacious time. And what you're going to be doing is having prices that you feel secure in. You want to keep crunching your numbers to figure out how many people you need to enroll to meet your income goals and to be able to sustain your business, because the business has a lot of costs. And that's one thing I figured out this year. I was like, oh, what I thought was my income, in actuality, it's a lot less, because I invested $10,000 in this business school that I was in. And so I have to take that out of the money that I made. And then also, you know, having a Zoom account and having a MailChimp, you know, at certain levels, you have to pay for all these things. So you got to pad your numbers, your tuition, to account for your business costs as well. So you want to crunch your numbers and figure out what's the minimal, how many people, and how long the program will go for. And I do the DI PhD currently twice a year. I know other folks that have a long-term program just do it once a year. So the enrollment only happens once. And if it's your first time, you could do a shorter term one just to get your feet wet, you know, a 2 or 3 month package. But really, I'm I would jump right into a longer term. And when people have, they need a container to enroll in. They need dates. They need to know now's the time to take action. And for me, that's been easier than trying to do something with ongoing open enrollment. And so the last piece I want to share is that nurturing relationships with people who are responding to your content, responding to what you put out there for free, those are the people then you can ask and invite them on a call to see if they would want to talk more about your program, and things like that. So rather than trying to sell in your actual Instagram post, you know, connecting, I do intuitive meditation too, of like who's looking for this kind of transformation, who's ready, you know, who's going to be committed and excited about what it is I have to offer. And I meditate, and literally, you know, people's faces will come to mind, or their names will, or I'll see who's commenting on all my posts and who's been asking me like, oh, you've been, you know, asking me about the practice that I'm going to share, and just following up with them. Hey, I'm about to launch this program, you know, would you want to hop on a call to talk about it? Or would you be interested in X, Y, or Z? So those interpersonal relationships, cultivating that, and being detached if a person's going to enroll or not. Just wanting to tune into them and their medicine already is a gift to people, and you can just feel good about that. You don't have to, you know, feel attached, or it's not your self-worth if they end up enrolling or joining or not. But you're going to be the one to set those terms that my program's valuable. You know, they're going to be catching the signals from you. So do what you need to pump yourself up before posting. You know, do some dancing, go on a hike, go on a run, get yourself excited, and meditate on your medicine, and just honor your medicine, and know that it's worth something, and that as you grow your economy, then you can sprout economies from the school you create. You can sprout economies from your services and offerings, because you can also invest in other services and offerings. So you can pay for cool classes, and you can continue your education in a good way. So you growing your economy has many infinite ripple effects of goodness for this world. So you know what? You can make it happen. You totally can. All right. And this already brings us to 6:56. So I just want to open it up right now. Does anyone have any questions before we close out? I know that was a lot of information, but I hope at least you got a spark. My medicine and gift is this chispa. You know, I like to inspire people that you can totally do it. You can try it. You can start it. And the world is looking for your medicine. So, you know, you'll learn along the way. You'll learn along the way, but get those multi-month sacred containers that, you know, this is how you're going to make your ends meet, and from there you can play and you can offer. All right. Yeah, any questions? Yes, I'm so glad that you're generating so much. Yeah, this community is incredible. All these offerings are brilliant. Yeah, let's throw social medias in there. You can put in your IG handle if you'd like, for sure. And any questions before we go? Anybody curious about something? I think I saw one in the chat. Let me go. Okay, this is a great question. Having a separate IG for business, or looping your biz in with your personal world by having it all in your personal Instagram. I decided to do two, and I think it does confuse people. So, but it was a personal choice because I have a young daughter. I didn't want pictures of her to be in my public business. So I ended up going with two. But I know a lot of people choose to have them in one because it's less confusing for people. And also when you share your story, it has people want to lean into your daily life a lot of the times. But for me, it's worked better to have them separate just because I have a young daughter. That was my personal choice, but it's a great question. And before we close out, yeah, I want to give a shout out to the current DIY PhDers that are in the house. So shout out to Queen, shout out to Meredith, who was in the first DIY PhD cohort. Shout out to Joanna, Ariane, and shout out to Jay Nyla, who's going to be in the next DIY PhD cohort. Super excited. And if any of you here tonight are interested in applying or want to talk to me about a potential DIY PhD path, you know, please message me, send me an email, I'm happy to hop on a call with you and talk about it. We currently have just six places open for the spring cohort. So let's talk soon if you think you might be interested. We're halfway through our enrollment, so we'll wrap it up in 2 weeks, or December 6th is the last day to enroll for DR PhD. And it's been such a joy to tune into this topic with you all. It's so rich and fertile, and there's so many more places we can take it. So, thank you for joining in this conversation and these brainstorm sessions tonight. PayPal to pay for this workshop, Queen. You're so generous. I'll put my Venmo or my PayPal. PayPal is saritado@gmail.com. Venmo is @saritado. But Queen, you're already in the DR PhD, so I don't want you to send. This is this is for you all as much as me. You're already in this program, so don't worry about it. And thank you. All right. So that's 7 p.m. Oh, thank you, Mayor. And save the chat. I think you can save the chat. So if you want to jot down all these IGs before we go, you're so welcome. Oh, thank you, Elsie. You're legit amazing. Everyone here's legit amazing. Yay.
Meredith, you feel like an old buddy of mine from maybe a past life. You just feel familiar to me. It'll come around.
Well, I have heard so much about you, Queen. I want to meet you. I really want to come see your space and learn from you. So thank you for all the work you do and share.
Thank you. It'll be open soon. Yeah, thank you.
All right, y'all. You're so amazing. I don't want to leave. I feel you, Ariana.
You look radiant
Thank you
tonight,
so much,
Sarita.
Sarita. Thank you, everyone.
Sarita, you're glowing.
Yeah.
Glowing. Nervous energy. I wanted to impress you all, and I got nervous. Thank
Wow.
you, everyone.
Thank you all. Wonderful to meet you.
Yes.
Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Hi, Irene.
Love you,
Hi,
Sarita.
Adrian.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night. Sacral generation. Yes, Jay Nyla. Everything you share. Thank you.
Night,
So
everyone.
beautiful. Good night, Este.